All right, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, and this is SmellGoodz. Listen, this is part of a tag video series that's going right around in our fragrance community right now. It was started by Razor Ramon the Barber, who I hadn't seen up until this point, but checked him out. He's got some great stuff. He's tagged in here. But basically what he did was he threw out kind of a tag challenge to those of us that do content in this space for your fragrances that you would have on a date night at a steakhouse, a steak dinner, date night type of situation. So he tagged a lot of the folks that I watch as far as fragrance community, including guys like Dedrick Hicks, who kind of tagged in someone else that I follow, being Walt at Fatboy Finesse. So I figured I wasn't tagged specifically, but Dedrick did open it up and tag whomever wanted to take on the challenge. And so I'm tagging myself in. Here we go. And I'm tagging those guys here just because, again, to show them some love and appreciation that, hey, listen, they're providing great content. So make sure you go check them out if you're not already checking them out. All right. So when we're talking about steak dinner date night, let's kind of set some ground rules as far as kind of what my thought was with this entire process as I was going through my growing collection, right? I was thinking, this is not Ponderosa, this is not Golden Corral, this isn't Applebee's, this isn't Western Sizzlin or anything like that. We're talking when you're going to like Ruth Chris, Fleming's, Mahogany, Steak 44. If you're here in Phoenix, Durant's, right? Those are the kind of things that I'm thinking when I'm talking about, or that kind of went through my mind as far as laying out this collection that I've got here. I've got, I think, 10, maybe 11. And then I have one that I just had to pull out the last drop that I've got in that Discovery little sample, just because I think it's a great fragrance. But the other thing about this is that I'm not looking at things that have to be long lasting, right? For me, when I'm thinking of fragrances for that type of an environment, that type of thing, it doesn't have to speak for me. The fragrance doesn't have to speak on my behalf. It can speak to me as far as speak to who I am, that type of stuff, but it doesn't have to announce me as I walk into the room. So I'm not looking for those that are projection beasts. I'm not looking for those that are longevity beasts, just because also when we're talking about steak dinner, listen, we're talking about a period where it's gotta do its thing. If it does this thing for a good 4-5 hours, it's done its job. It's fulfilled the assignment. These are fragrances that if they last long, that's a plus. But I'm not looking for things in my list right here that I'm about to present to you. These are not things that in fact, some of them don't last beyond the 4 or 5 hour mark, but they don't have to be longevity beasts. What I'm looking for is things that kind of evoke that right atmosphere, that right mood for what I'm intending to do with that steak dinner, whether it be, a date night, just as far as, listen, we're celebrating something, or if, listen, we really try, we really trying to set an atmosphere for maybe that entire weekend. That's the type of fragrances that I've got here that I want to share with you and let you know what I think. And again, I'll open up the tag. So if you're watching this and you're a content creator in this space and you didn't know anything about this, I'm tagging you. Go ahead and let's see what you got. Let's see your heat. Let's see what fragrances you can come up with that fit the bill for this. All right. So first one I've got is going to be one that's kind of newer in my collection, but is, in my opinion, is one that just kind of speaks as far as just the bottle, just about everything with it. That is Bulgari Man in Black. We're talking rum, spices, tobacco with leather and iris, and then tonka bean in there. This right here, this to me is an ideal date night steak dinner. This is, you got the all black, whether it's an all black suit on, or if you got all black slacks and a black shirt, open collar, you got the nice shoes, the nice loafers, whatever it may be. You stepping out your blacked out truck, your black, for me, it's the blacked out GV80. If you know, you know. And you kind of toss your keys over to the valet. You open the door for your lady, your significant other, and y'all walk in. They greet you, hey, Mr. Crawley. This is not, oh, we weren't expecting you. This is that type of a fragrance that to me just commands a presence. Again, without being overbearing, without being too much. Man in Black, Bulgari definitely fits the bill as a steak night, steak dinner, date night type of fragrance. Now, let me say this also. This is not in order of best to worst or anything of that nature. All of these, in my opinion, fit kind of different scenarios and what have you. So these are all just things that I think fit the bill. All right. Next one up. If you've been around my channel, you know that I love this fragrance. This is Oud for Glory by Lattafa. This is their take on Initio's Oud for Greatness. You've got the saffron, nutmeg, lavender up there. You've got the oud, patchouli, and musk. This, in my opinion, is a statement fragrance. This is a fragrance that doesn't, it's a nice, bright, spicy fragrance that is there. It doesn't project a whole lot as far as what I've seen in my things with it. It does have a nice bubble, a nice scent bubble around you, but it's not a beast fragrance that's gonna just kind of blast out throughout. But it is one of those fragrances that when someone's close to you, and if we're talking steak night, steak dinner and date night, there's some intimacy ideally involved with that. This is something that I think definitely fits the bill. Again, this is a statement fragrance to me. Again, Bade al Oud, Oud for Glory. Now, put that over there. Next up on the list, this one is one, let me kind of move some things around here. This one is one that is a flanker of the previous one. This is, I'm gonna just call this Amethyst, still by the House of Lattafa. This one, you've got pink pepper, you've got rose, jasmine, oud, amber, and vanilla. This one is a floral twist with rose and oud in it. This one, in my opinion, leaves a subtle but a lasting impression. Whereas the Oud for Glory kind of does speak a little more, does kind of make itself known a little more. This one is a very intimate scent, in my opinion. This is one that kind of just sits in the background. It kind of just, is one of those fragrances that kind of is ready to pounce on somebody. That's this type of fragrance. This is that type of fragrance that is an understated fragrance, in my opinion, but definitely is a great one for that romantic evening, that date night at your favorite steakhouse. That's what that one's going to be. All right. This next one. Now, I'm going to say this is going to be probably a little of a one of those statements that some of y'all are going to be like, what in the heck is he talking about? Some of y'all are going to be like, cap. All right. But this one is Dark Cherry and Amber by Banana Republic. All right. Let me just say this one, you got the cherry up top. You got a sweetness. There's a praline, I think, in this. And then there's this amber. It dries down with some amber and cedar in there. Now, I'm going to make this statement. And Dedrick, if you're watching, listen, bruh, I know you're probably going to try and take me to task, but hear me out. This is a poor man's French Defense by Mind Games. Now, I'm not saying that this is a clone of it. I'm not saying that this is a one-to-one of it. I'm not even saying that it's even close to being in the same league as it. But the way that this kind of opens up reminds me of French Defense. The way it dries down reminds me of it. Again, does not do it as great as French Defense. But again, this one is one that if you're looking for something, and maybe, maybe this is, you're really stepping out and you're going on, going to Ruth Chris, you're going to Mahogany and you celebrating something. But you're like, look, after we eat here, we're going back to ramen noodles and peanut butter and air sandwiches. This is something that, hey, you might check out. You can get it at Burlington, pretty reasonable. But it is, in my opinion, a nice, seductive type fragrance that just works. Like I said, may have gone a little overboard by saying it's a poor man's French Defense, but it definitely is in that vein as far as the dark cherry and the amber. This cherry is a little darker, not as sweet as the cherry in French Defense, but I think this works, and this could do a nice one for you as far as a steak dinner date night. Next one, listen, speaking of Mind Games, I had to bring this one out. This one is the one that I got as a decant and really just opened my eyes to the House of Mind Games and has put a number of them on my radar. In fact, I'm in the process. I'm doing a few videos related to just going through the discovery set as I experience Mind Games and get the first impressions. I've already got one for this one, but this is Mind Games Jadoub. It might be a little hard to see. You see the decant there, got a little still left in there. This is a pomegranate rose leather scent. This is a balance of complexity and elegance. This one, this is, in my opinion, is an intentional fragrance. This is one of the fragrances that my wife When first time I wore it, she was like, "Oh, that's a manly scent." And it's interesting because you pick up on that rose and that pomegranate, but this, I think what she was getting at, this is a confident scent. This is not something that you wear if you're concerned about smelling feminine or anything of that nature. It can lean a little that way, but in my opinion, the right person, the right atmosphere, the right environment, the right situation, this is a beautiful fragrance that, again, this is an intentional fragrance. This is when you are looking to subtly turn some heads. You're looking to subtly make some statements that, listen, you're that person in that situation, the right man for the job in that date night. Mind Games Jadoob is going to be one that I think fits that bill as well. All right, next one. This one is another one that is kind of in that vein. I know, some people will compare this. Well, this is nice amber vanilla scent with some incense. This one, Club Black by Mercedes-Benz. In my opinion, this one, I think a lot of people do kind of know about this. I think this is still, in some respects, underrated. Just the sweetness of the vanilla in this, the amber in this. This just, to me, is a seductive fragrance. This is a sexy fragrance that just works very well, definitely for those cooler months. This is not necessarily for date night steak dinners in the summer, but this definitely does work, in my opinion, for those fall or cooler nights that you're going out to step out, have a great meal. This is one that, again, is another intentional fragrance that you might want to check out. All right, now I'm gonna bring out some of my travel sprays, let you know what I got that's in the pipeline of things that I'll probably be picking up full bottles on. That first one up is one by the House of Mancera, which is one of my favorite niche houses. This one is black gold, a little hard to see there, but it is black gold. This one starts off with there's a lavender in this, then there's some cinnamon and oud in this, but it dries down with this leather, musk, and amber combination. This one is dark and sensual, but still has a little bit of brightness and playfulness in it. This is one that, again, just seems to be a nice one that you can go out with your lady, go out with your girl, your boo thing, if you will. And you're not overpowering her. She still smells great, but this is one that you can come away. And there's this complexity in there with this that just works well for that type of an environment, for that type of a setting. All right, Black Gold by Mancera. Next up, this one, I think a couple of people that I watched do this, they did kind of bring this one out, but I still got to bring it out myself just because this is my list. This is my starter kit, if you will, for things that I would do a steak dinner date night with. And that is Jazz Club by the House of Replica Maison Margiela. A little hard to see there, but you can take my word for it. You see the replica there. This is Jazz Club. Opens with that neroli. You've got that pepper. You've got the rum and then the tobacco. This, to me, is an old school steakhouse fragrance, all right? This is a nostalgic fragrance. This is one, so here in the Valley in Phoenix, we've got a restaurant called Durant's, which has been around for a while as a steakhouse. I grew up in Chicago. This gives me the feel of going into one of those steakhouses that you might have been sitting where a mobster sat. It's one of those where you look on the wall and you see nothing but black and white photos of mob bosses and figures from 60s, the 50s, 20s, 30s, whatever it might be. This is that type of a feel to me. This has such a warmth, but still a refined charm to it that I think this is definitely a steak dinner date night fragrance that should be in your staple and in your rotation for you. All right. Next one up. This one I haven't talked about a lot on this channel, but it is one that I absolutely do appreciate. This is one that it's by the House of Lattafa again. But this is qaa'ed, I think is how it's pronounced, Qaa'ed. Of course, I'll have the name there. This one, you got that spice up top with the cinnamon and the cardamom, but then you've got this saffron and cedar, and then you've got some oud, vanilla, leather, and amber that all just comes together. It's Yeah, this is a very elegant, very classy. This is a grown man mature scent. Where some of these, I think, you can try to get away with wearing them. This is for the one who is settled in. This is something I might rock. My wife and I are about to celebrate in a few months. We're about to celebrate our 29th anniversary. This is something I might wear for that if I don't find something else. But this is a refined, this is an elegant, this is a classy, this is a mature scent that definitely just works as a boss figure type of scent for a steak dinner date night situation. All right. Next up on my list is Copper Black by Kenneth Cole. It's hard to see just because that bottle's kind of a little different there. But this one, you can tell I've got a major dent in it. This is one that I actually was wearing a lot just when I was, not really in the enthusiast space of this hobby of ours. When I was just I would get a bottle and maybe wear that bottle out until I got something else. But this fragrance, it's a apple ginger up top, but then there's this boozy bourbon note that's in there. And then it still finishes off with some vanilla and some tonka bean. This one is really, the problem that I have with this is that it doesn't last. This is when I was talking about how I don't necessarily need a fragrance to last all night. I don't need it to last 10, 12 hours. You're going to get maybe a good 4 hours out of this. You're going to have to probably overspray it just so it's there. But as a scent that works for the thing that we're talking about as far as a steak dinner date night, there is just a richness that is mixed with the sweetness and the depth of a good bourbon, in my opinion. And that's what this kind of encapsulates, what this kind of just speaks to. So Copper Black, again, don't get this for longevity. This is something just nice to have as far as something that might work on those nights when you're looking to go out, have that steak dinner, something that, you want that hit of something that really is like, what's he wearing? But don't expect it to last much longer after, like I said, that 3, maybe 4 hour mark. All right, next one up, and I've got one more. This is all I had at first, and then I was like, nope, I got to pull out my secret one here, my secret one that I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are on the one that I've got coming up, but this one is Stronger With You Intensely, and this is the reformulation. So this is the one that just relaunched this year. Let me wipe it off just a little, but this one here, you can see part of that is just I put a bunch of it in a travel spray already just because we were traveling. But you got the pink pepper, lavender, and amber vanilla in this one as well. This one, now this is let me set the mood for this one. This one is the lights are low. This is not, this is where you kind of got a private room. The lights are low. Candles are really much the only light that you got in the room. Even the lights that may be on in the room are going to be extremely low, extremely dimly lit. This is one where the waiter comes in, checks on you, and then disappears for a good 20, 30 minutes. And they're kind of watching and seeing maybe if you need anything, but they're not trying to disturb you. That's this type of a fragrance for a steak night as far as a dinner date. This right here, this is passion and indulgence colliding. This is just a sexy, sweet fragrance that just works. This is one that, listen, you wear this with the right person, you might be a father really soon. I'm just saying, this is one of those fragrances. All right. Now, the next one. This one, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna probably use the last drop of this. You might be able to see it there. This is from a discovery set that I got from the world of Chris Collins, which African-American perfumer who kind of is, I think, kind of under the radar for a lot of folks, but he's got some heat in his collection. In fact, I did do a discovery set review in one of my videos. I'll tag it up there. But this one right here to me is the consummate steak dinner date night fragrance. This one is seduction in a bottle. This one is sophisticated. It is subtly suggestive. This one you've got, now listen to some of the notes that are in this. You've got cognac, you've got plum, you've got saffron, you've got pepper and nutmeg, and then finishing off with some cedar, some oud and vanilla. Listen, this right here, I'm gonna use my last few drops on this. This one right here, just the warmth of this, the spice in this. the little sweetness that's in there. This right here, Don Savage, yes, I just finished off, if you will, the little tester. But this is completely full bottle worthy for me. There's some other things in that collection that are full bottle worthy, but this one is the first one I'll be picking up from the house of Chris Collins. And this one to me is one that I had to include, even though I don't have a full bottle. I had to include it in my list of steak dinner date night fragrances that are just going to be bangers for you. All right, that's it. Again, I'm gonna tag everybody. If you're in my list and I've seen you in a comment or anything like that, I'm gonna tag you in it. But if you've watched this and you do fragrance content, definitely make sure that you go ahead and tag this and tag yourself, and then create your own video. Again, I'm tagging Dedrick Hicks. I'm tagging Fatboy Finesse Walt, and I'm tagging Ray, what's his name? Razor Ramon, the barber, just as a show of love, a show of appreciation for starting this conversation, for having this conversation, and for just putting it out there so that we could have some fun with this and really just kind of show off kind of our thoughts regarding this topic. I'm looking forward to other ones that may be created in this space and in this lane. But that's my take. If you've been watching up to this point, do me a favor. If you have not already, make sure you're hitting that subscribe, hitting that like, requesting and notifications, and then sharing. That way you see the other content that we've got out here, and then go ahead and follow and subscribe to those other folks that I mentioned as well. Let's keep this community thing going. Let's keep this going well. Hopefully everything is going well in your life. Again, appreciate you stopping by. Have a great one. See you next time. Be blessed.